you look up an idea and it's not out there, 9 times out of 10, it's probably a shitty idea.
So what's up, HVAC crew? Welcome back to another episode of HVAC R&D. Riding Dennis tonight. We do have a guest for you. I'm excited about this one. We got another techie on here. I know Ryden's maybe not as stoked. Maybe he is. He gets to listen. But
I'm always stoked. I get to learn.
He gets to learn. I'm excited about this one because I've got some stuff that I've done in the past that I wish I could have sent to the Invent Help people to help me out. So we got a guy that's going to talk. I'm gonna pick his brain on some of my ideas and see what he thinks. So yeah, without further ado, let's get it going.
Yeah, come on. So what's up, HVAC crew? Like Dennis said, we got a guest on the show tonight, so I'll try to get through the usual shameless self-promo, and then we'll get things rolling. So we have sold out of the Pink Warrior hats, so they are gone for the 2022 calendar year. They'll be back next year, but we do have some other cool Pink Warrior news to talk about later. When Dennis and I get into some of that. Maybe we'll get into it on this show, maybe on the next one, but cool things to come with the pink HVAC R&D logo. Just know that. Also, please make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at HVAC R&D, as well as on Facebook at HVAC R&D, because, we couldn't be uniform. Where's the fun in that?
Right.
Also, you can
Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Also, you can find more info on our link tree in the bio of our Instagram and our social media. Also, please make sure to follow us over on Trade Hounds. Great trades community, camaraderie. Also, it's a great place for people to post their battle wounds from out in the field. Here lately, seen some crazy ones.
Oh yeah.
Good survival stories there, I'm sure. We also do post some exclusive stuff over there, so go check us out. Also, make sure you are registered for AHR 2023 in Atlanta, Georgia, from February 6th through the 8th. Dennis and I will be on the podcast pavilion floor in both Pavilion 1 and 2. Going to have some meet and greet sessions and also have some cool swag giveaways. We've also been starting to get contacted by a few of the different vendors that are having booths at the show, so stay tuned for more news about different places you'll be able to find us hanging out during the different days.
Yeah, we still don't have our guest pinned down, right?
Yep. No, not 100%. We're about halfway home on getting guests nailed down. Finishing some topic negotiations and some other stuff, so those are coming. And like I said,
I'm just pumped we get to drive to it.
I know. I'm so excited.
Not fly.
Yes. Not that flying's, not bad, but it's not always all it's cracked up to be either.
No.
Tell you that to my 6-hour delayed flight in Dallas earlier this month. Last month. This calendar's rolling quick this year, HVAC crew.
Oh, yeah.
So, any other information you need, you can always find in the link tree. A lot of our other stuff, as well as some of our sponsorship stuff that's coming up. So more of that's going to be announced soon. But, what you guys are really here for is tonight's guest. A big thank you. We've been working on getting him on here for some time. You know him as the Air Surgeon on social media, as well as the inventor of the Jumper King that is produced through Subco Trade Flocks. So please welcome our friend, Mr. Robert Kraft, to the show.
Can't you see what I mean? Might as well jump, jump. Might as well jump. Go ahead and jump, jump. Go ahead and jump.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's going
man.
on?
Oh man, just chilling. I'm not jumping right now. I'm actually sitting down. So
Good walkout song, obviously.
yeah,
I know it wasn't live right now, but I will have it in there for you. But yeah, good walkout song. It's perfect. You probably wore that one out here lately.
yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you can wear that one out. You can't really wear all
No.
of Van Halen out. There's a few of them, but that one's,
It's pretty
pretty
good.
classic.
Pretty good jam. Yeah, for sure.
Are you a Van Halen fan? What kind of music you like?
You know, I like a lot of music. I like anything from the speed metal, old school Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera,
There we go.
to classic rock, to some jazz. I've been playing guitar since I was like 16, so music has always
Sweet.
been in my blood.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love all music. If it sounds good, I listen to it. It could be from any genre, So, but yeah, definitely love
Nice.
the old '80s rock. Is probably my favorite.
Yeah, you definitely picked the right show to get on. So you've got two musicians here with you.
Oh, nice. We should jam.
Yeah,
someday.
I was gonna say I dabble in the guitar a little bit. My son's a big drummer.
Nice.
Of course, Ryden's a drummer.
Yeah, I was a drummer and a piano player, but now I don't hold a candle to Dennis's kid at all. He does the drums with Dennis on our intro, and then Corey also writes all of our background music we have on all the shows. So he's a big part of it, even though he's kind of hidden behind the scenes.
Very cool. Yeah, these young bucks, I tell you, some of these young bucks out there are just bam, just right off the bat, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I'm 40 and I started playing at 14, but then I feel like I'm in the largest rut of my life in guitar. It's just a horrible loop. I haven't gotten any better, and I play the same shit all the time. And my son's looking at me like, "Why are you playing that again?" I'm like, "Shut up! That's what I got. That's all I got, bud."
I'm the same thing. My son, like, I already heard that. I'm like, well, so have I, but
Yeah,
it's all I
but
know
guess
how to play.
what? I want to play guitar right now, and this is all I know, so I'm playing it. We got
This is
Got
fun for me,
acoustics.
okay?
Yeah,
we
exactly.
got acoustics in every room. You walk in my house, you just grab a guitar, and if you want to play, go ahead.
Love it.
They're everywhere, and he'll grab the guitar and start playing something. And I'm like, "When did you learn that?" He's like, "I don't know, yesterday." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I thought you were a drummer." And he just grabs a guitar and throws down some sheet music, and I'm like, "Wait, what? How did you learn that?" And that's where they are, man. I just don't remember having that. I don't know. I sat in my room and picked out, I learned Nirvana and learned this and learned that, and then I never really played in a band, which that would have probably helped me a lot. But
I did play in a band for a little while, a couple of bands here and there. But the highlight of my music, guitar playing, whatever you want to call it, you remember the band Dokken, right? Old
God, that
80s
sounds
band
familiar.
called, Into the Fire, Dokken, George Lynch, the guitar player.
Okay.
Mm-hmm,
Yep. George Lynch. Yep.
Well, when I lived in California, I ended up hooking up with that guy, and I was friends with his guitar tech and his sound engineer, and I ended up hanging out at his house and helping him shoot a YouTube video at his desert house, and got to play in his in his home studio, and got a tour of ESP guitars there in California. And yeah, I hung out with him for like 3 days straight. Stayed in one of his kids' rooms that he had at his house. But what a genuine, super cool guy. He signed my guitars. I I have some memorabilia guitars from him.
That's nice.
Yeah, like the skull, the Bones guitar, iconic guitar out of the Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that. He did a video. My mind's blank on what song it was. But anyways,
I might have to break all this back out. Look at it.
Yeah. So I'll have to send you maybe a picture of it or something like that. But anyways, I have that guitar to this day, and he signed it. He played it at one of his gigs at the NAMM show, which is like the SEMA of music, or the A,
that's awesome.
So really cool stuff. Yeah. So always have those memories and stuff like that. So pretty cool.
Sweet. Yeah, so my son's he wants to get into kind of the sound engineering. He still wants to play drums for a living, right? But it's like going to the NFL at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's got to have a plan B. So he wants to work in a studio, and then, maybe you can like guitar tech and just get in there. I told him while he's young, go to work for Live Nation and roll up chords and just get up in it.
Yeah.
I mean, while you're young, and then you can, if it turns into something, it turns into something, but so he's going to try to get a degree in some of that. We'll see what happens. But
That'd be cool.
And you meet so many people when you're on the road.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got to get in the thick of
That's
it.
where you build so many relationships.
That's the key, is relationships. I mean, we'll talk about my trucks later, but I mean, I wouldn't have built the trucks that I built without relationships,
Right.
I wouldn't be where I'm at in my career without relationships. That's the key to being successful. One of the keys is creating relationships with people,
Oh, yeah.
So, definitely.
It's that
All
and
right.
just being a good, genuine person, that usually helps too.
That, I mean, that
Um,
comes like, well,
That doesn't come naturally to everybody.
I was going to
but,
say it comes easy to me, but it seems like I'm in a world of freaking weirdos anymore. But there's still a few out there that are, good people, but, and I think that, you can't just give in. You can't be like, well, I'm just going to start ripping people off or being a weirdo. Cause it's at the end of the day, it's not worth it. So when you build relationships with people, it's quality people. It's good,
Right.
good people. And that's who you want to surround yourself with. And that's, very important.
It's funny you say that. Do you think people have always been just weird and just assholes? We just didn't know it because there was no social media and Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I swear, after COVID, and my wife said this, she's like, God, people are just assholes all of a sudden. Like, what happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my town. I don't know what it is. It's like all of a sudden, everybody's in this fog. I mean,
Yeah, no kidding. I totally agree. I think, like my son's 16. He was asking me like, has the world always been like this? I'm like, well, I think it has in different ways, but I don't think we knew about it. Like I hardly even watched the news ever when I was in my teens. I care less about the news.
Right.
Now it's all over the place in your face on every time you look at your phone or whatever. So I think that it probably was, but we didn't know about it, is what I'm thinking.
yeah, we had, especially growing up. I mean, back then my dad would watch the 8 o'clock news and there was some stuff on it. Like, it's almost like you can't let your kids watch that now.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. Like, there's nothing productive on there.
I always tell my wife, like, we'll turn it on once in a while just to watch, the weather mostly. And, out here in Colorado, you never know what's going to happen. So, yeah. And I'm like, do I need to know how many people got killed out there today? Like, does that really benefit my life?
Right. It's just shock value.
It's just,
That's it.
it's propaganda crap. And, when my son, was just old enough to talk, so this is probably 13 years ago. He said, Dad, that's a bad program, TV show. And I look at it and it's the news.
Right.
It's the whole vibe that they give off, so I don't know. I thought about, I'm an entrepreneur. You guys probably noticed that. I don't, I do a lot of things. I'm always trying stuff. Inventions, companies, ideas, whatever. I like doing that kind of thing. And I thought about, what about a good news channel? Because there's so much good news
Great
out
idea.
there. I mean, there's so much good stuff out there that no one even knows about. And I actually pitched some networking companies on the idea of it, and told them I'd help them produce it and help them do whatever it took, but I never got any feedback. So that one kind of
Like good news.
They're like, we don't want
nobody's-
to tell people
yeah.
good stuff. That's not going to drum up any kind of buzz.
I know that's like boring.
The-
But yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see all the good stuff happening out there, really.
Yeah, they'd rather just crap on everybody.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, so before we get too heavy, as you know, on this show, me and Ryden crack a beer. So we're gonna get into what we're drinking on. I got a little something weird to drink tonight.
Well, then you go first.
I don't know who wants to go first. You want me to go first? I think this is. So who makes Shiner Bock? Is that Texas? What am I looking at here? So this is Shiner Holiday Beer, but it just says Shiner on it.
All right. It is.
Are you Googling? This is
Shiner
Texas,
Bock.
right? Yeah, it's got to be Texas.
What does it taste like?
Well, I haven't opened it yet. So this is a holiday cheer. It's November. It's
Okay.
peaches and pecans.
Wow, that's interesting.
I don't know. Or pecan. If you're a pecan guy, I'm a pecan guy. I don't
Pecan, yeah.
know. Let's see.
Yep.
So is that the same company? Am I looking
Yep.
at that
Texas. Yeah. Yep. Shiner Bock.
right? God, it smells just like peaches. I'm not a big peach fan, but oh wow, that's peachy.
That's peachy.
It's peaches and pecans.
You don't taste
Yeah, I don't
any
think
pecans?
I've ever- Yeah, a little bit on the finish there.
Okay. Sounds
I may-
interesting.
Yeah, it's a. I don't think I've ever had a Shiner Bock either. I don't know. It's 5.4%. It's just a light beer. Looks like. What you got, Ryden?
Well,
Please
So
don't
actually-
tell me you.
what were you gonna say?
I don't.
So, I had lunch with my niece yesterday, and we've talked about my niece a few times, but she has connections in the bar scene all over the Charlotte area. If you see a lot of our videos are ending with Dennis and I cheersing a little liquor drink at the end of it in front of a Murto Made distillery sign. That was a place that is a local distillery that my niece works for. They let us use their bar to do that promo video and our AHR stuff. But I had lunch with her yesterday at Blackfin, which is her other place that she works that has been a kind of a go-to spot for us. And while I was there, the Noda Brewing rep walked in with a new holiday beer to try.
I can't believe you brought a holiday beer on like me.
I didn't bring it on.
Oh.
I tried it yesterday. I'm talking about it.
Okay. All right.
So I tried the new Noda Brewing Hoppy Holidays IPA.
Sounds
And-
interesting.
Well, I'm not an IPA person really at all. Now, I will be honest. The taste you get kind of in the beginning of the beer is great, but then that IPA just pale ale punches you in the face. And you're like, well, it was good for like a few seconds, and then it just kind of, it's
yeah,
not my thing. I just can't do it.
It's different.
So it says, but and that's not me saying it's not a good beer. A lot of people love the IPAs. That's just not my thing. The initial taste of it's good, but I don't like the finish of an IPA. Not my thing. Too hoppy. But I'll give you the little blurb from the can. It's a 6.5% pint. And it says, whether you've been naughty or nice, we wish you holiday cheer with this one-of-a-kind brew loaded with 6 scrumptious hop varieties, complemented by citrus notes and a brisk piney aroma. It's the perfect beer for the most wonderful time of the year. So happy holidays from your friends at Noda Brewing.
Nice.
Rep was super nice. It was nice to get a free beer. That rarely ever happens, so thanks to
Right.
my niece for her connections. But I will raise a glass. Well, not a glass, but a can of an old hitchhiker to salute that downed IPA from yesterday.
Wash her down.
So a hitchhiker on our show is a Modelo. I know we end up telling this story every time, but I can't remember what episode it is. But running joke between my wife and I is how this happened, and it is just stuck with the show. So, but a hitchhiker is a classic Modelo.
Just a good old Modelo.
Yep, good old drinking beer.
All right, so we've covered quite a bit here, but we're gonna have to get a little backstory on you as far as on the HVAC side, kind of what you're getting into now, and then we'll get into
Kind of dig into the past because it's your first podcast. So
it is your first podcast.
Sure
we
is.
gotta tell your story.
Yeah.
And we get to break the good news of your story to everyone.
There you go. It's great news.
HVAC R&D, the Good News Network.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Boring.
Right? Nobody gets shot on the show. Sorry.
Oh man, jeez. That's a good thing.
So yeah, give us a little bit of your background and kind of how you got into it.
All right. Well, right out of high school, everyone graduated besides me, and so everyone, a lot of my friends were going to do their careers and getting jobs and doing all this stuff, and I'm thinking, I don't feel that great now. I was feeling good when they were working at, and doing good in school, and I was out messing around. I'm like, you guys are idiots. And then I felt like the idiot after that. Everyone graduated and was on to their careers, and I was just kind of lost. But that changed very quickly because I soon found out that it doesn't matter. None of that matters. Just depends what you're going to do in life. So to get to how I started at HVAC, my stepdad goes to the coffee shop and every day and every morning, and he comes back one day and says, "Hey, my buddy needs help doing some work." And I'm like, "What kind of work?" Like, I don't like to work. What kind of work are you talking about? I get up at 11 o'clock. Could I start at noon? I'm just almost 18, probably somewhere in there. And he goes, "No, he's doing HVAC work and he needs help starting tomorrow." I said, "Okay, what do I got to do?" He goes, "Well, you got to be at this restaurant at 5:30 in the morning to meet him there." I'm like, 5:30?
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm thinking.
I'll just stay up till 5:30.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, so I party, do a few party favors, and then boom, I'm ready for work at 5:30. So, anyways, I showed up at 5:30, and I've been doing it ever since. That was 32 years ago. So that's how I got into it. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I really liked it.
So was this residential or commercial?
I was gonna say, was it like refrigeration? Is that how you started, or was it?
It was actually all commercial. The company that this guy worked for, that now I worked for, had like 30 something Chuck E. Cheese stores, accounts.
Nice.
So yeah, I'd get free pizza and soda and go to these hot buildings with my boss, and he would fix it, and I would feel like a hero too. And everyone's like cheering at us, giving us free pizza. I'm like, dude, this job's killer, man. Are you kidding me? I'm in.
I forgot about Chuck E. Cheese, man.
Yeah,
that was my
right?
spot when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's right. I don't even know if they're around anymore, but
I mean, who come up with that idea with the rat? Like,
yeah,
the giant rat walking around.
Cheese
I know.
pizza.
Yeah, that was.
My daughter was terrified of that.
Probably the same person that came up with the name Ream. Yeah, let's name our company Ream. Yeah, that's a good. That's a great name.
That was the brother's last name, so that's how that happened.
Oh,
I can give we
Ream
can give you a lot of backstory on that one. I've sold Ream Root products since I was 4. My dad's been around it forever.
They're my favorite residential brand. When I do residential every once in a while, and when I did it years ago, Rheem is top notch. That's why
There
I'm
you
like, I just never correlated, like, I don't know the backstory, so that's cool that there's a backstory to it. But I'm like, either that's a genius that said, let's name it Rheem because we're gonna ream your ass, or let's name it Rheem because we have a real reason to name it like that. But they are, in my opinion, the best residential brand.
It's a good solid. Yeah,
Sure
it's good
is.
solid
Rude
equipment.
Ream's a good solid brand. It's easy
it's
to work
rude.
on.
Absolutely.
It's rude to say Rudd.
That's right.
That's what we say.
I know, Rude, Rheem. Yeah. But so then I was a few years into the trade, and I worked for mostly a lot of commercial companies early on, just helper, and stuff like that. And I do got to mention something. I was on the when I was working for that company that was doing the Chuck E. Cheese's. My boss was downstairs, and I thought his gauges were up on the roof, and so I hooked up his gauges to this unit. I'm like, I could do that. I want to see what these gauges do. And he yelled at me so hard. He's like, you could put non-condensables in there. You could ruin the whole system. I'm like, what the hell's a non-condensable? I'm like, he got all mad at me. He's like, let me train you how to do this. You're gonna screw up all my units and stuff. I'm like, all right, because I'm a like do it kind of guy. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I don't want to just hand you a wrench. I want to know what the frick's going on here.
Yep.
So, and then another thing is that's back when cordless drills were just coming out, and I had this Ryobi, and that's when Ryobi was like not great at all, and it was like you had to plug this plug into it, like a 9-volt plug, to charge it overnight. And I brought it to work, and I was all like proud of it, like I got my own tool and stuff. And my boss goes, well, first I undid a couple panels to change the filters, and the thing died after like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
My boss like, what the hell are you doing, man? So I felt embarrassed and stuff. So I threw that thing off like a 40-foot roof into the parking lot. I said, well, that thing's gone, and it didn't even break. I'm like, that's got to be worth something
back then.
That's got to be worth something, man. But
my dad had the Black & Decker, the long, skinny drill, and it had the metal chuck on it.
Yep.
On the end, when you had to have the key to tighten it. If you didn't have that key, you were effed.
You were screwed. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't just put your hand on it.
No.
And he still has all that, and it's got those nickel batteries. Like they had a memory. Like if you took it out of the box and plugged it in, whatever charge was on it, that's your max charge. Like,
oh yeah,
you had to run them down. We had like shit wrapped around the trigger, like run it all the way down. I remember him like, don't plug that in. You're going to mess up the memory of the battery.
Yeah.
Now we just throw shit on the charger, and we got like 12 batteries, we just, shit everywhere. But yeah, he still has all that, man. And it's, when you squeeze the trigger and you let go, it still turns like 10 more rotations, and you got to be, because it doesn't have a brake on it. So, they were hard as hell to use.
We had the old Makitas with like the 12-volt battery that was like a foot long.
Oh yeah,
the handle.
Makita, yep.
And you're like, how in the hell am I going to fit this gigantic handle down anywhere? So then you end up having to go buy like the little 7.6 volt Makita so you can put it smaller places.
I love old tools, man. I mean,
I'm a tool guy too. I really like, I don't have a million tools. Some of these guys out there, they have so many tools. I just kind of have, I like tools, but it doesn't mean I have, tons of them. But I love tools that get the job done right. I mean, when you find a tool that just makes your life so much easier, and it makes you look good, and it makes the job look good, it's like that's awesome.
Yep.
Well, these, we got 20 different pipe benders now. We got 10 different flaring tools. We got automatic flaring tools, swedging tools, and it's like, holy cow.
Yeah, the tool industry, Milwaukee has really stepped up because they were kind of just, just kind of cruising along there, years ago, and they're coming up with, their engineering department is going crazy.
Yeah, I was a DeWalt guy.
Yeah, me too.
And they and they still produce some pretty sick tools. I mean,
yeah,
but Milwaukee is, they're obviously hitting the social media hard.
Yep.
They're getting, influencers. They're getting tools in their hands because they're big on Instagram, and that's free commercials, man. I mean, you can't beat that.
Oh,
Like,
you can't. No.
That wasn't available back in the day.
Right.
They didn't go around and just give people free shit. Like, here, you want to use this?
Yep.
I mean, so yeah, but I mean, I still see guys on Instagram with some new DeWalt stuff because I always thought they were pretty top notch. Their batteries were good.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference on a cordless tool. There's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of companies out there that make it, but you can break out a skill saw and find out real quick what a good what a good battery is or a good tool. But
That's right.
let's get into as far as what you got going on with Subco. You want to get into that?
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to read.
And kind of how did that even happen?
Yeah, I know.
I guess that's part of your entrepreneurial spirit. You were working on something. You're like, this has got to be an easier way to do this.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened. So I was doing, some maintenances quite a few years back, and I didn't want to turn off the unit, put my jumper wires on there, and turn it back on, and wait for the time delay, and blah blah blah. So I was just boom. I would just, I was always good at landing my jumper wire where it needed to go, and bam, it comes on. Compressor, fan is no big deal, but the compressors, you don't want to just you don't want to short cycle compressors. It's just not.
No, you get one shot at that.
One shot. Yeah. So I'm on this maintenance, and this maintenance was actually an all-inclusive maintenance of mine, which means I pay for all the parts that break. I get a good monthly income out of the deal, but the less things that break, the more money I make. So it's kind of a win-win for me and my customers if they can afford that in their budget. So I'm cruising right along, and this unit had wire nut connections, and so I went to go bam on the compressor, and it hit it twice and went bam bam, and the compressor never started. I blew up the compressor, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm like, no, come on, you could start. It's off on overload, or
No, you.
I can just picture you like rubbing it and petting it.
no, I was petting it, man. I might have spit on it a couple times. Yeah.
Come on, you got it. We can do this. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I had to bust out my meter, and I checked it, and it had an open winding on it. And I'm like, well, that ain't gonna reset. So I'm like, you know what, man? I'm tired of these damn stupid cheap ass jumper wires that break all the time, and the clamps, get stuck and they don't open, and in the cold weather, it's just a nightmare. I said, there's got to be a better way to start these units. And so I did a quick search there on the roof. This wasn't too long ago. This was probably probably about 2017 or so. And I didn't really find anything. I mean, I did find one tool. I won't name the name, but it was way too much. It was too much than what I needed. I wanted something simple. I could just boom, pull out, get it going, and go. And so I had this idea in my head, and I'm sitting up on the roof, after I just blew up this compressor, going, okay, first of all, I'm going to tell my wife I just cost us $1,500, so that's going to be fun dinner conversation. But so I thought, you know what, I need it. Why don't I just create like a little box with a switch on it with these wires coming out? I'll hook one up to R, and then whatever other wires I'll hook up to whatever, compressor, fan, whatever I want. And I'll turn on the switch, and I could turn it on. I could hook it all up with the switch off, right? So nothing. I don't have to worry about short cycling anything. And then I could just turn the switch on when I'm ready and turn it off when I'm ready. So that just like boom came into my head. So I went straight from that job to Home Depot. I got a little plastic 2x4 gang box, a little slide switch, some wiring. I had to actually order some wires off online, so it took me a couple of days to get that. Some alligator clamps and this and that, and I made this thing. And so I'm in my living room with a Dremel, and I got a table set up in my living room because my garage at the time was packed with too much stuff to kind of work in there. So I'm working in the middle of my living room. My wife comes home from work. There's plastic shavings all over the living room. There's wires everywhere. She's like, "What the hell are you doing, man?"
Sounds like my house.
Dude, I said, I just blew up a compressor today. I'm making a damn tool so this shit don't happen again. And so that's where the Jumper King was created. And I took it to work the next day, and I was so excited because I was able to hook it up to the unit. And I'm like, okay, well, I got stage 1, stage 2. I got fan hooked up. Let's go. I turned on the switch, and they fired up. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. This is like,
yeah, what a simple deal, but
yeah,
I mean, but it's a lot, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's just jumper wires will always have their spot. If you got to bypass a high limit or something like that temporarily just to see if it's, if it's open or
yeah,
whatever, they'll always have their spot. But the thing about the Jumper King is you can make your own jumper wire without the box if you wanted to, just real quick.
Right.
If you're doing heating, stage 1 heating, you can make your own mismatch. You could have a magnet on one end and a alligator clamp on the other end, or 2 insulation piercing tip, whatever you want. But what's cool is the kit is there if you need it. It's like if you need to start a 2-stage heat pump system safely, it'll do that. If you need to start, if you need to find low voltage shorts, it'll do that. It'll tell you what wire is shorted too, because you can hook it up with whatever wire you want. And say yellow is the shorted wire. There's a nail through the wall downstairs or whatever it is. You go to energize yellow, and the fuse pops out on the bottom, the little 3 amp resettable fuse. You know that the yellow wire is the one that's shorted, so that's pretty cool. And then, you can, like I said, you could make your own quick jumper wire and buy, use it that way too. And then also with the insulation piercing tips, you can put 1 tip on each side of like a pressure switch or whatever. You can measure voltage in there, stick your probes in there, or you can hook that up to the Jumper King and bypass it. I mean, so the Jumper King does a lot more.
Well, you're probably still finding stuff, right?
I just found something, yesterday I think it was.
I think I put it in the notes. I saw it on there.
Yeah, it's like it holds the door switch closed.
Yeah, the double.
I'm like,
I love that.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, and so like I just wanted it to start units when I was ready. So it started out with 1 switch, and then so I reached out to Supco. I think it was late.
I was gonna say, how did that happen?
Yeah. So I took a licensing course on how to license products to companies, probably in 2014 or so, somewhere in there, because I've been inventing stuff all my life. I've had products that I've invented that didn't know what to do with, that are on the market to this day, making money and helping people out in the trade. I also went to one of those companies you see on TV, bring your invention to us. I got ripped off for $12,000. It was an automobile filtration system with like a charcoal filter and pre-filters and all that, because California, when they had a lot of fires out there, I could still breathe in all the smoke, and I'm like, well, carbon filter will take care of that. And so I came up with this whole idea. They'd rip me off for $12,000. So that was like in 2000 probably. And then 2004, I came up with some ideas, like the magnet strap. You see that on everything, right? All the meters and stuff. Well, I made one out of a dog collar and a magnet, and I was hanging my gauges to units. I was hanging everything off that dog collar and a magnet, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
I thought you had to have millions of dollars, and you had to, know these people and all this. So I stumbled across this company called InventRight, and on YouTube, and watched their videos, and they're solid people. The founder is a hugely successful inventor himself. And so he wanted to help people, like, hey, you don't have to, you could license these products to people, and they can, they take care of a lot of the cost, most of the cost usually, but you get a percentage and all this stuff and this and that. So I looked into that. I took a course on that. So I was like, cool. So when I came up with the Jumper King, I already went through that course and didn't even know I was going to come up with the Jumper King. And then so I reached out to Supco about in 2016, and at the time they were acquiring. It wasn't the right timing for them. In other words, and they said, "Hey, it's just not the right timing for us right now, but please revisit us because it's a cool idea, but it's just not good timing for us." So about a year goes by, and about 2017, I go to this barbecue at the local train supply shop, and they have this Trade Fox Supco stuff, the umbrella, and these other things. I'm like, "What is this?" It goes, "Oh, these are products that technicians invented." I'm like, "Through Supco."
You're
I'm
like,
like,
excuse me.
I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I got on the phone. I usually wait, want to do good business till I'm in a quiet environment. My dog's fed, my kids are happy, no one's crying. But I called the Supco when I was on the freeway. It's all loud, and I said, "Hey, I want you guys to revisit this idea." And at that time, they were it was better timing for them, and they were just coming out with the Supco Trade Fox stuff and things like that. So then they took it on and were interested in it. But then, so as we're developing it and things like that, a lot of the things changed out there in the market, that the universe threw at us, shipping stuff and COVID and all this other stuff. And there was just a lot of delays. And then we had to make a lot of different prototypes. But it's kind of a blessing, though, because that's when I came up with the different switches to, engage all these, the compressors and all that all separately. That's when I
Right.
came out with the resettable fuse, the interchangeable tips, the silicone wire leads, not the hard plastic ones. And so
Right.
I was really able to dial it in and really bring it to what it is nowadays. So I'm glad I had all that time. Usually a product takes a year to 2 years to get developed and out there, on the market, just depending on what how complicated it is. So it is what it is, and it came out in good timing though, and it wasn't ready to come out any earlier, to be honest with you, because it wouldn't have been as cool as what it is now. So
Right.
and then when Josh Cooley got on board with Supco, he started really working on all these inventor products, and me and him and Melissa, she's the marketing gal that's kind of behind the scene, we all worked together and really dialed this thing in the last year and a half of before it launched, and made it a quality product. So pretty happy with that.
So I haven't put my hands on it yet, but I feel like I have watching all these videose.
I know, man.
I'm not in the field anymore, but
I'm posting like a 9-year-old out here, man. I'm like,
right.
I'm gonna throw out another post. I don't care. Well, here's the thing, though. So there's jumper wires that have been around for I don't know, 50 years or more, and then there's the Jumper King. There's nothing in between. There's really nothing in between. So a lot of people.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
the concept is just like, golly, why haven't we had that?
exactly,
Yep.
and that's why. Because I was gonna buy one when I was up on the roof and I ruined that compressor. I'm like, I'm gonna buy a tool that does this. I'm like, well, I don't really see anything that kind of fits my eye. So that's why, like, a lot of people are like, well, it might take too complicated to hook up and this and that, and it's really not. I've tested it. It's 30 seconds. It's hooked up, and that's what.
Well, you're just hooking up jumpers. It's just the matter of you're not going to short cycle anything because you're not energizing anything yet.
Right. Yeah.
So,
all the switches are
as
off.
quick as you can hook shit up.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, and it's kind of fun because you turn the switch and boom, that compressor comes on. You turn the other switch, the reversing valve kicks in. Turn the other switch, and like when you're doing a PM on a 2-stage cooling, 2-stage heating unit, you can hook up, has enough wires to hook everything up. So with one hookup, you can check first and second stage heating, first and second stage cooling, and check all that out with one hookup, which is really cool. That's why I came up
that's
with
a big deal.
that many,
Right.
with 6 wires on, up to 6 wires on it,
Makes sense.
yeah. So
the fuse too, that intrigued me because for the past 5 years up until now, of course I've switched jobs now, but I was you were talking about Ream Rude. I was tech support for them,
Oh, nice.
and trying to fix a low voltage short, which to me is the worst call in the business.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Trying to fix that over the phone with a guy was impossible.
Oh man.
Um,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
because I don't know his skill level, right? And he's got fuses everywhere. He's got the little popper or whatever. He's got all that shit going on.
Mhm.
And you really either got to disconnect everything. And I used to tell guys to energize one at a time.
Mhm.
So you're doing the same thing with that.
Yep.
And I said, look, you got to separate the indoor, the outdoor. We got to figure out which component is got the short. It could be 50 things.
Oh yeah.
Just on a residential heat pump, right? There's a lot of stuff that's low voltage.
Sure.
So, yeah, having that on there, that's a great addition to that thing for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, because even if you hit metal on accident, you can, without that, you're gonna ruin something. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy on how much. Like, I didn't even really. I wanted to start units safely. That's it. And then it just evolved into like, well, you could do this with that, or do this with it. Oh wait, you could do this with it too. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, like mind blown off my own tool that I invented. Like, shit, it does that too.
Right.
What the hell? Which is really cool. I mean, I'm very proud of that tool. I've worked really hard on it. I own a patent on it, and I have a patent pending on it as well. So eventually I'll have 2 patents on that tool. And that's a
Nice.
whole different animal, patents, but,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So the main thing, like, I don't do anything in life solely for the money. I mean, yeah, money is what makes you do a lot of cool things in life. I mean, you got
Well, we got to have it.
gotta have
right?
it,
It is.
but-
new.
Money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I do it out of passion. Like, when people are on Instagram going, dude, I love this tool. It's helped me out. I thank you so much. That right there just makes the hair stand up on my arms. And that's what really gets me freaking fired up,
Yep. Oh yeah.
So I'm happy to have created something that helps the guys out on the field. I use it all the time. Like I said, I've been doing this 32 years. I use mine every time I'm out in the field. It's just fun to use. It's fun. It's safe. It's a cool thing. It's like, it has some cool factor to it. But before it came on the market, though, I got to admit, I was a little bit nervous because you're always biased about something that you create. Oh, this is the best. And not that I thought that, but I'm like, this thing is cool as hell. But it's like, you don't know until it gets on the market if it's what the market's going to,
Yeah.
how they're going to react. Right. And
Yeah, you try to not get too stoked on your own Kool-Aid.
that's right. Yeah. Cause that could turn into poison real quick. But I mean, the respect, the support I've had, I mean, it's mind blowing. I'm very impressed with the people in the HVAC industry, because 99.9% of people are supporting me, which is a lot, and love the tool.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's unbelievable. Even in today's age, where all these haters out there, people are really supporting me, and it's mind blowing. It's so surreal, but so
Well,
that's what I like about it.
I was gonna say, so I haven't ever mentioned any of this stuff on this show, but so I've made stuff since I was a kid, just like that, right?
Yep.
And you just make it to use, just like you did. You made it in your living room. You're like, I gotta have something.
Yep.
Like, that's been my whole life, right? But having this company out, and when I saw this company come out, I thought, man, I could have used them like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you'll appreciate this. Like I said, I've never said this on the show, but when I used to do cabinets, when I was I didn't go to college, kind of went down the same path like you, but I was doing cabinets. So we were doing woodworking, right? So I'm like, man, this is when the iPods came out, right? Some kind of little MP3 player. So we're like, I want to listen to our music. Nobody wants to listen to the radio. So I took my dad's old computer speakers and I put them in this little wood box, right? So I ran a cord inside there to power them up because you had to power them up. And then I ran 3 outlets on this box. So I cut them in. You're talking about a 12-inch box with a handle on it with computer speakers. So we would charge all our cordless tools on.
No shit.
So essentially, this was a job site radio.
Yep.
This was like, I don't even know what year this was. It was 20 plus years ago. There was no job site radio, right? There's no Bosch. There's no DeWalt.
Yeah.
We were charging our batteries on it. We plugged our MP3 player in it, and it was the coolest shit ever.
Wow.
And we didn't do nothing with it. Like, I just used it on the job. And over the years, they started coming out, and I'm just like, you know what? Damn. Like, what?
Missed the boat on that one.
Yeah.
You know, but that, I mean, how many times have you, has that happened to you? I mean,
Well, I'll tell you.
you sound like the same guy, right? You've done that your whole life.
Oh, since I was a little kid. I mean, it's like,
Right.
okay, this is bothering me. How do I fix this? It's just, ever since I can remember. But I've have a lot of tools like that. And at first, I was like, that's like the magnet strap and all that stuff. It's like, oh, that sucks, But what I realized is, if you have a good idea and you look it up and it's on the market, that just validates that you have good ideas.
That's true.
If you look up an idea and it's not out there, 9 times out of 10, it's probably a shitty idea.
Yeah.
That's true.
9 times out of 10, not always, because of course the Jumper King wasn't out there, but yeah, I mean, so the laser line, when you're using a chop saw or a skill saw or whatever, they have that laser.
Right.
Because it bothered me so much when I would cut wood and my Sharpie line or my line would disappear with sawdust and I'd lose where I was going. I'm like, well, that'd be nice to just have like a laser line on there or something like that. Well, that was years and years before the laser line even came out. And it's like, okay, that could have made me a millionaire.
Right.
But I didn't know what to do with that, with these ideas and anything about that. But
because we always heard too that it did cost money, right, to put these on the market. Like,
oh yeah,
and you had to have the right. So when I first got into HVAC, in Atlanta, going up in these attics, I'm like, damn, it's hot up here, and I'm trying to work on this furnace. Doing service, you start sweating, and you can't get your mind right.
Oh yeah,
it could be 140 up there, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I took like those round, a lot of installers would drag a blower housing up in the attic, right? Turn it on, blow some air on them while they're working. But for service, like I took this round fan. I don't know if you've ever seen those little round Honeywell fans, the little black. So they're open in the back. So I basically took a board, cut a circle out, dropped this in so it would pull air from the back. And I had like your drawers for your cabinets, right? I put those runners, and I would go up the attic stairs, open it up, set it on the attic opening, like behind you, and drop a duct down so it had like a little piece of flex on it.
Yeah.
And it would pull air from the house and blow it up on me at the furnace, which even if they didn't have air in the house, right, it was 80.
Yeah, 80 was cool.
Right? And it felt like AC. So I was like, man, this is just cool as shit right here. This is,
Yeah.
Of course I had a shitty fan. I kept trying to find like really good fans. So I got a good fan, built a nice prototype, took it to, I don't know if you ever heard of Invent Help.
Yes. Well, yeah.
I had the caveman on the commercial, like making the wheel.
Yeah.
So I took it to them. I mean, they didn't know what the hell to do with that thing, man. They were like, you're going to have to come up with about 12 grand up front. We got to do this. We got to do that. I'm like,
there's that 12
I think I'm just going to
use.
use.
There's that 12 grand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to use it. And I kept it on the van. I made little videos where I could show that it was blowing out 80 degrees and it was 140 in the attic. But literally stayed in my van, went nowhere. Like, it's just a fan, right? But it worked for that situation. I mean,
right. Yeah. And I remember in California, when I had my business out there, I did mostly residential out there. So, I mean, I've done, a little bit of everything in my time. But I remember being up in the attics with my brother out there. I got my brother into the trade out there, and like you said, 140 degrees, sweating your what's off, and I mean it's freaking brutal. It's brutal up there. So that's a great idea. That's why like the Supco Trade Fox thing is so cool, because they're smart, right? Because the technicians out there experiencing all these issues every day are the ones that come up with the greatest ideas.
Yeah,
So
they know.
why wouldn't
Because there you got to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, and these companies that have ripped off these inventors and stole their ideas, they're going to be they're shooting themselves in the foot. For one thing, now that social
Right.
media is out, everyone's going to know to never go with them, and so that either they have a killer engineering team, or that's all they got, and the engineering team isn't out there in the field every day. They're behind a computer screen, so they can only do so
Yep.
much. But when you're out in the field and you come across these issues, and you can bring them to Supco, and they're not going to steal your idea, and they're going to treat you right and respectful and fair and all that stuff. What a smart thing on their.
Well,
on
yeah,
their,
and that's genius on them, right?
Genius.
Because they're just getting all these. The only way you can come up with half of these ideas is to be in the field.
That's right.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they're not in the field.
Nope.
I mean, they try to be, right? But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they're not.
Nope.
They're not slinging every day in attics and crawl spaces,
Yep.
Yeah, I still got that little fan. I ended up adding a light to it. I added an outlet to it, all kinds of shit. I just kept adding to it,
Dude,
right?
Lights and magnets are like
Right.
like, they make everything better. They're like, it's like bacon or something. It's just lights, magnets. I mean, I love lights and I love magnets. Yeah, and
So
that's a good idea. So, well, I used to bring up portable ACs up in the attic with me. Like
there you go.
I'd like to find like a 14,000 BTU, the biggest one I could find at Home Depot, and rope that up in the attic and turn it on, and first thing in the morning, and there was so much heat load up there. I mean, it maybe knocked off 15 degrees at the most, depending on
Right.
how big the attic was. But I didn't really feel like unless I had it blowing like right on my head. But then your head's freezing and the rest of your body's hot. Then that's no good. So I like it. I like your idea better, to where it's like just a cool breeze, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting a really good, because I wanted it round, so I ended up screwing like a 10-inch elbow.
Yeah.
So then I could turn it
Yeah.
where I wanted it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it ended up just growing into this transformer deal. But I had this I don't know if you've ever seen that flex that the guys use on the road work where they drop down for fresh air.
Oh yeah.
It's a heavy.
Yellow.
It's not insulated. It's not insulated. Yeah, so it's kind of fabricy. So I had that on the bottom side, and it would just drop down into the, hallway of the house.
Yeah.
And there's always an outlet right there. So I had like a 20-foot cord I just kept rolled up on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plug it in, go up the attic, set it behind you. Yeah, I mean, so let's say that the air did work upstairs, but you were just doing something else. So then you had 70-something degree air blowing on you. Yeah, it worked. I mean, I used it all the time. Obviously, you got to carry it in.
Yeah.
But I had the little expandable, so you could. It was only probably 14 inches wide, but I could spread it out and set it on set it across attic stairs. So it
Sure.
was pretpretty nifty.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little cumbersome, right? I mean, there's only so small you can make that, but
Right. Well, I mean, it's better than heat stroke, because I've had. Well, I'll tell you an attic story. This is crazy. So, hopefully we have enough time on the show. I try to be quick. Sometimes I go crazy on my stories, but so me and my brother are carrying a condenser. It starts here. We're carrying a condenser over this little fence, and he goes to grab it to get a better grip on it, and the condenser hits me in my front tooth and knocks my tooth out. And I look on the floor and I see it bouncing on the sidewalk or whatever. I'm like, I look at him and I smile. I'm like, he's like, holy shit. Cause he knows me. I used to have pretty bad temper, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude, right now? Like, dude, I said, I have a really important bid tonight, and I have no tooth. I'm
A
like,
hockey smile.
yeah, I did. Totally. I said, he was like, dude, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I'm like, well, I mean, I know it's an accident, but let me know when you're going to, shuffle the unit and get it ready, especially when it's right by my face, so I could be ready for it. I didn't know you were going to do that. And then the thing hit me in the face. So I go to this bid at that night, right? And I have no tooth. And I told a customer, I said, I'm sitting at their dining room table, showing them all the pamphlets and all that stuff. And I said, don't bother. I told them the story. I said, my brother knocked my tooth out today. I apologize. And they're like, oh, no worries. We feel bad for you. No worries. So I ended up getting the job. So I come back, I don't know, a few days later. And by that time I had a temporary tooth in there. So they're like, oh, cool. Hey, good morning. We're going to go to work, but I'm glad to see you got your tooth fixed. I said, yeah, I got the temporary in there. Yeah. looks much better, huh? And they're like, yeah, cool. So they go to work. Me and my brother are up in the attic, and this is one of those 140-degree days. And me and my brother, we're 8 years apart, so we always battled in our earlier ages. This is probably 25 years ago. I don't know. And and so I got all pissed off at him, man. And I'm like, because he, I don't know what he was doing, being lazy or whatever it was. And I remember reaching into my mouth and I pulled out my, I was so pissed off. I pulled out the temporary tooth and I threw it at him across the attic. I'm like, you son of a bitch. And I threw my tooth at him. He's like, are you kidding me? And so it's lost in the insulation up in the attic. And now I'm toothless again. And, and I don't know why I'm hurting myself when he's the one pissing me off, but that's just how my temper used to be years ago. And so the funny part is, he took off. He's like, I'm going to give you a little while to breathe, man. You're freaking nuts. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. So I'm cutting myself, and it's just a rough day in the attic. So the customer comes home and we're still there. And they go, shit, your tooth's gone again. I'm like, it's all good. Don't, I just kind of like, yeah, things happen, It's just, and we just kind of, left the job. I never did tell the customer that my tooth is up in their attic, but yeah, so attics can get you, attics are rough. So I appreciate that fan that you made. Cause it's rough up there for sure.
Yeah, we've had some guys. So my boss was real bad about, especially when it was just me and him. He was bad about keeping water on him all day, but never drinking it.
Oh, okay.
So he's the one that's got the water bottle. He's always got a water bottle, but it's the same one. You know what I mean? It's the same 20-ounce water bottle all day with 3 sips out of it. And man, he went to the hospital multiple times for just started getting the headache, started getting sick, and just had to go get fluids,
Yeah. HVAC's no joke, man. It's a tough
You
job.
stop sweating. Like, if you're not sweating, that's not good.
No.
It's about to hit you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. I've been there, too. I've gone where, like, I had to go lay on the customer's grass. Like, I need to breathe, man. I can't breathe.
It's weird how you walk outside. It's 95 outside, and you're just like, "Oh man, it feels great out here."
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, so good. Yeah, I mean, HVAC. It's a tough trade, man. It's definitely a tough trade. I've kind of evolved into commercial only the last 8 or so years. I revamped my company because, well, I guess this is what this is for, right? Is stories. Is that okay to tell another story?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, so I created it. Well, first of all, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I was a pretty heavy drug user back in California, and in 2000 I started, I was quitting, but then 4 or 5 months later I'd go on a rebound, and then I'd quit again, and that's when I was with my wife. We were engaged at the time and stuff, and she's just tripping on me, like, what is going on with you? I'm like, oh yeah, just whatever, but then when my son was born 16 years ago, that's when I quit, and I never looked back. But what I'm getting to is I built up a really successful business in California. I had 5 guys working for me, making some really good money, had some great guys, great customers, doing new custom builds over at Newport Beach. Just living the dream, doing good. I had boats, brand new trucks. All my guys had brand new trucks. I had a 2,000 square foot shop. I was proud of myself. I went from partying real hard to get my shit together and creating a future for my son, and
Right.
my family. And so when 2008, 2009 happened, I wasn't ready for it. We just remodeled our house. We just put like 220 grand into our house, and that was pretty much all the cash flow I had at the moment, because all my other cash was into my toys and stuff. But so then the economy crashed, and that was basically our dream home at the time, and we lost everything. I'm talking trucks, guys, house, you name it. I mean, we were just, it was unbelievable. And I had shingles because of so much stress, because I was like, I spent 10 years building this company up, being a good boy, being clean, doing a good job. And then all this happened. And so I said, let's move and start somewhere fresh. That's a little bit cheaper, a lot cheaper, and that has a cold and hot climate. So we picked Colorado. Didn't know anybody out here. Didn't have any family. We drove out here with I had one work van left that I had paid for, and then my wife's car, my 3-year-old son, and my dog. And we just went to Colorado with $1,800 to our name and about $200,000 in debt, and it started from scratch. And so about 3 years goes by, and I'm trying to get my own business going out here, and it was doing okay, but I was doing mostly residential and whatever I can get my hands on, and I really needed to need some marketing money to kind of let people know that I was out there. And I didn't have the money for that because I was spending all my money on raising my family and paying our mortgage or our rent at the time and all that.
Yep.
And so then I went to this one residential call, and the guy was a GM of this car dealership chain out here. And he goes, I like how you're honest and do a good job, and I like your style. I like how you're fair. I'd like you to come help us or come bid on these commercial jobs over here, or these commercial my dealership, some repairs. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And that's one thing I'm very proud of. I've never ripped off one person in my whole career. I've always charged a fair price and done the best quality work I can do, and that's always kept me. Like you said, like we said early on,
you can't go wrong there. That's not never going to bite you.
It'll never bite you. So I got into that, and then I finally renamed my company, and I restructured my business model into commercial maintenance. And that's something I can do by myself. I don't need a crew. I don't do big ductwork jobs, nothing like that. But so that's how I got into the commercial maintenance, and now I have about 30 car dealerships that I do as a one-man show, and I bill them monthly, and so it turned into a great thing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do zero advertising. I don't have any. You see my truck? I don't have nothing on it. I go and do my quarterly maintenances, and that's it. And repairs.
See, that's what I like about this show, right? We bring people on, and hopefully guys listening are like, God, there's so much you can get into in this industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's insane. I'm a tech trainer for a manufacturer's rep, right? And as a salesman for a distributor, right? I mean, I don't know how many jobs there is, right?
Oh,
and then
I find out new ones every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and see, here you are by yourself, which, if you got young kids out there working, they're tech or maybe an installer for a giant company, and they're like, I want to be that guy one day. I want to own my own company and have all these employees. But you know what? You don't have to go down that route either, right? You can be solo and make a good living too.
Oh,
you can pick your path, because you can take your skill and you can hone it in and use it where it best fits your lifestyle and what you.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. Well, I did.
That's what trades is all about, though.
That's what.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
you could take this trade or any trade to any level you want to. You got to be creative and you got to be a hard worker. And I did skip a spot, so real quick. So after that 3 years, I decided to. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm going to go to work for another company. So I'm glad I remembered this because it's just kind of a blur. But it's what 8-9 years ago. But so I went to work for another company in town as a service manager. I figured, well, I'll just make 80, 100 grand a year or whatever, run the service department and call it a day. And I go there and they had 2 service technicians. They had no uniforms, that they were losing customers. The whole service department was a freaking mess. And so I was like, cool, I know how to do all this stuff. I'll build this stuff up. And so I built them up to 5 service techs, a uniform service. I got all the parts because they had parts warehouse on site. So I got all that organized. I got all the guys' vans organized. I got them incentives. I got some of their customers back that they lost. But you're going to trip out on what I'm getting to. So when I was looking at all the numbers and everything, they're pulling in 260 grand plus a year just on these maintenance contracts that they give a shit less about. And that they send the cheapest service tech guy out there. And he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And I'm like, you know what? That's my niche right there. I said, I'm going to start a company where I just do commercial maintenance, and that's all we do. So we're going to be the best at it that we can be. So I really had no competition. So, at the time, before that, I met that guy in the dealerships and stuff, and I was still, in touch with him and stuff. But when I worked for this company, after right before 3 months hit, they fired me. And I couldn't understand why. I'm like, I just made your whole service department badass. Like, what the hell? I mean, I was blown away.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was like, it was unbelievable. So then I reached out to that guy that was a GM of that dealership. I said, hey, I'm on my own now again, but I started a whole new maintenance company that does commercial maintenance. So then, it still took a while, probably another few months, 6 months after that. But I finally got in with that guy and started and actually got his dealership as an account. And then come to find out, this dealership chain has like 26 dealerships. And then I got in with all the other guys, and it just kind of grew from there. But
when you go to a dealership and you're like, hey, by the way, I maintenance this guy's dealerships, and there's 20 something.
Yeah,
they're going to trust you on that.
Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And so that was a blessing in disguise. At the time, it was like right before Christmas. I had like $60 in my account. So talking about music earlier, the way I got back up on my feet after that, I mean, and I got the flu. I was really sick like 2 weeks before Christmas. And we usually fly out to California to visit my family in Christmas time, my wife's family. So I'm out there at Christmas time in my pajamas with $60 in my account, just lost my job, going, you know what? I mean, what the hell's going on here? So that's when I kind of brainstormed, and I said, you know what? They're making 260 grand a year just on maintenance. That's not even repairs or nothing. That's just maintenance cost. And I'm like, that's where I'm going to tap into. So when I got back to Colorado after Christmas, I sold 2 of my guitars, not the George Lynch ones that I told you about, but two nice guitars that I had, and I got $100 for both of them, and I put that down on a down payment on a work van, and started my commercial maintenance company, and it was the best thing that I ever did. And I have so much freedom. I mean, I do every quarter. I go out and it takes me about a month to go through my buildings, and then I'm just on call. So if I don't have any calls, I'm out golfing or something,
there we go.
No, don't tell Dennis that.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll be on the plane to Colorado tomorrow.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Like, golf, let's do this.
The only sad thing I gathered from that is you sold 2 guitars, but
yes.
I'm glad you got up and going. I actually have never sold one of my guitars yet, which I don't have a bunch of high end, but
I had a nice Les Paul that I sold, and then a nice ESP that I sold.
Those don't ever lose. I mean, guitars are like guns. They're like, if it's a good, Les Paul, you're never gonna have. That's always money in the bank right there.
Oh yeah. But I mean, all in all, I can't complain. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it all happened. So I bill all my maintenance accounts monthly. So whether I have service calls or not, I have a minimum monthly income coming in. So.
Well, I was gonna say a lot of the
residuals. That's what's building.
Yeah.
That's what's built all of these companies' value these days. Is how many maintenance contracts do you have? Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's what your company's worth.
That's what it is now.
If you don't have maintenance contracts, then you don't have customers.
Right.
I mean, you can't just say, yeah, my company's worth a shitload of money because in the summer, man, we're real busy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, no, what are your customer? What's your
that don't
customer base, though? You know what I mean?
Well, that was hard. Like even in California, when I was making, I was making up to $600,000-$700,000 a year out there, and that was good for me in my early 30s. But I didn't know, like some months were like $2,000 or $3,000, $5,000, $7,000. Some months were $30,000, just depending on what kind of work was coming in. I was in like 12 phone books back when phone books were a thing, and I never knew how to budget myself. So now I know at least minimum what I'm going to make, and I could budget myself off of that,
Right.
And so that's where we're at now. But as we say this, we're getting ready to move out of state in January, mid-January, and I've been trying to sell my business, and I thought I sold it to this guy, and a lot of these guys think they just wish that they had everything, but they don't want to put the effort to it. And so I don't know what I'm going to do with my business. I might have to just walk away from it. I have no idea.
You should be able to sell it right now, right? That's popular.
Oh, I have a broker and everything, and I can't get anyone that's worth a shit that can get any money. First of all, and I'm not selling it for a huge amount. It's it's a decent amount, but nothing like crazy or nothing. But these are gold mine accounts. These are like
Right.
I mean, these guys remodel their buildings all the time. That they don't question anything.
Right.
But I can't find the right guy, so it's like we're out of here. We already found a house, and we're closing on it on January 16th. So if I don't sell it, I'm just going to have to walk away. And I already have a job working for another company out where we're moving, and I'm going to go back to work for a company as a service manager. So it's like I've been on my own for 20.
It's just a circle.
Oh, it's a circle. Well, I'm the type that I don't give a shit. I'm gonna go out there and make shit happen,
Right.
And I don't know what it's going to turn into. I might end up being a partner with a company. I might end up, because they only do residential right now, so I might open up a commercial division. Maybe if they pay me well and treat me well, maybe it'll be a great thing. If not,
Right.
I'm out of there, because with my kind of experience, I'm basically interviewing companies. They're not interviewing me. It's like I already know that I can go to a company and kick ass on whatever they want me to do. I've been on my own for 23 years, besides those 3 months at that one company. So it's going to be a change for me, but I'm the type that, I got a nice family. I got a lot of cool things I like to do in life, and I got to do what I got to do. And
Well, I think it's cool for, like I said, I don't know how many young guys we have listening to the show, but me and my wife were talking about this the other day. We could move to any town right now. I could. Now, I might have to get back in the attics and the crawl spaces, but
yep,
you can't take this away from me. Like,
that's right.
I can start doing a service call tomorrow in a van. There's not many jobs like that.
No.
It was recession proof, right?
Yep.
Like, it's a solid trade.
Solid.
Now it's physical, right? It can be physical, but you can, like you said, you can pack up, move, service manager, right? That's not a bad gig.
Nope.
That could turn into all kind of stuff.
Sure.
Especially if you've got a lot of experience, right? But at the end of the day, worst comes to worst, you can start catching calls. I mean, some of these jobs you get out of college, you can't do that with.
No, heck no.
You can't uproot and go actually, you don't uproot and go get a job somewhere else. They move you because they closed down, and now you have to go over here.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. I see a lot of that, right? Like those cubicle style or work from home. They're like, yeah, we had to move because his job moved him over here. His job moved him over there. It's like, no, if I'm moving, it's because I want to move.
That's right.
I mean, but yeah, you can just pick up in any town, man, and start.
Oh, it's great. Like
business.
when I was calling companies, because to get our loan, we had to have an offer letter and all that stuff, because it's in a different state. And they're like, well, we're not going to give you a loan if you don't have a job out here. So I got on the phone, and as soon as they're like, well, we require a minimum of 5 years experience. I'm like, okay, well, I have 32, and I've owned my own business. I've started 3 different businesses in 23 years. Yeah, is that qualify? Oh yeah. What was your name again? Like they didn't even
What?
they didn't even know. Give us, they're just like they were really interested because right now it's so hard to find good people, and so I want to make sure I land in the right spot that can let me shine. Let me
Right.
take your little area or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to build. And let me have that as my little baby, and I'll frickin' make it badass. And just give me some resources, and I'll make it happen. So hopefully I get involved with that. But who knows? Maybe I'll start my own business out there again someday. I have no idea. All I know is it's an adventure, and
Right.
I just gotta
Open mind. You got to go with open
mind. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. But yeah.
I was gonna say a buddy of mine. I think he's 50, probably 58. He'd been doing tech support for a brand for 20 plus years, and then worked on the counter and then distributor for 10 before that. So long time for this brand.
Yeah.
Just finally had enough, just was done with tech support, right? That wears on you.
Yeah.
Went to work for a small company, probably had 5 techs, 2 install crews as a service manager. And he's got his little techs and he trains them 1 day a week. He's obviously the perfect guy to have for a company. I mean, he's been in tech support his whole life. So he knows what everybody has trouble with.
Right.
And he does his little classes. He goes out on jobs. I mean, he is loving it. Like you say, as long as the money's right, he doesn't have to put his tools on, right? But he's in it.
Yep.
And he's loving it, man. He calls me all the time. You can tell, he used to call me because I've done tech support. He used to call me, and when you're in tech support, you're running calls all day. You're just not driving to them.
Yeah.
Right? And so you end up taking, I might run 20 calls a day on the phone, and your brain's just done, man.
Oh yeah, it's fried.
Because every tech is different. I mean, some are decent, some suck, some don't even have tools. It's just like,
yep.
Some are really good, and you get right to it. But he calls me. I can tell he's just super upbeat. So the service manager, it's a good little gig to get into.
I think so. I mean, let me fix my microphone here.
It is what you make it.
I was in California. Like I had 5 guys I had working for me. When I crashed and didn't have any work for like 3 months, my guys still stayed with me for 3 months without getting paid.
Jeez.
Because they loved working for me. And that's one thing that I guess I was good at is like they didn't have to come to work. They wanted to come to work. I took such good care of them. Half the time I was out at the river at Lake Havasu on my big ass boat, and I would just come home to checks. But they weren't like, oh, the boss is always out playing and this and that, because I wasn't. I got shit done no matter what. I mean, it's not like I was just letting shit go to waste, but I did enjoy the benefits of having my own company. But I made sure that when they did a good job, I acknowledged them for that. And if they
culture,
I would give them raises. I would whatever, give them bonuses. I would because they were my company. It wasn't me. It was these guys were out there dealing with my customers. of course I did the sales and stuff, but so I took really good care of these guys. In fact, when I interview for a guy, I go, okay, well, what do you get an hour at your current company or previous company? Well, I'm $20 an hour, but I could start at 18 and see how I do. I got to go, okay, I'll give you $24 an hour, and I don't want to hear no bitching. I want you to get out there and kick some ass. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. And that's how I did it. And so, a lot of guys would like, well, I'd start you off at 12, and then I'd give you like 12 and a quarter, after 3 months. That doesn't bring the best out of nobody. So
No.
I would rather do it the opposite way. And they think those guys that do that think they're making more money that way, and they're not. So in the long run, I had happy customers, referrals all over the place, and great working guys. And in the long run, I actually made more money because I didn't have to babysit these guys, and they had plenty of incentive to come to work and provide their family, because ultimately I'm providing 5 different guys' families income, right? So
Right.
that was important to me, that they worked hard for me, and I worked hard to give them the benefits as well. And that's why I think I would be good at running a crew, because I've worked for companies before. I worked for companies for 10 years before I started my own thing, and some of them treated me good, some of them didn't. And the companies that didn't, I didn't want to do anything for those guys. It's like just the bare minimum.
No, yeah. Once you get that taste in your mouth, everybody's been there when you don't want to get up and help that guy out wherever you're going to work that day.
Yeah,
It's over. You might as well move on.
might as well move
I mean,
on. Yeah.
It's just
Yep. Because there's a company out there that'll appreciate who you are.
Right.
And in fact, my last company that I worked for, when I said I was going to quit, they go, we'll give you $3 more an hour, or whatever it was, to stay. And I said, no, I appreciate that, but I've made up my mind. I'm going to start my own business, because I've always wanted my own business since I was an early teenager. Just didn't know, what it was going to be. But
right.
so I made up my mind, and I've been in business ever since. And then now I'm going back to work for a company. I don't know if it's backwards or it's going to be forwards. I have no idea. But
Well,
you're
you
still in the
take
trade.
a whole different level of experience back to it now.
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean that's the difference now is
yeah,
you spent 3 months tooling up the company to get it the way you wanted it, and then you didn't get to appreciate it.
right.
So then you went and built something else. Now you get to take all of that back to the same kind of thing and start over. You're like, well, now I'm going to retool this company, but since I actually did this, you're going to retool it completely differently and be even more set up for success than you were the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, life's all about perspective. If I go, well, I got to go work for another company, I'm going backwards in life, this is going to suck. That's how it's going to end up.
It's gonna suck.
It's
yeah.
going to suck. But if I go out there going, you know what, I'm going to make something. I mean, make something out of myself, and I'm not going to quit until I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm sure I'll.
Well, and it could be a breath of fresh air too, as far
Absolutely.
as when you go home, you might be home. Right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
when you work for yourself, man, you're never off.
No, I'm doing
ever.
contracts, all kind of billing and all that crap. Yeah, I mean,
Your brain's going 90 miles an hour.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be weird to come home and be like, I'm done. What do I do?
Right.
I don't know. But I also want to invent, like I have 3 more products that Supco is, wants to look at and likes. So I would love to invent for a living, to be honest with you, because I love it so much. I got inventions in all different aspects. In the swimming pool industry, I got, and I haven't done anything with these yet. They're still kind of in the works, but I got all things to a garlic press that I invented. I mean, crazy shit.
Sweet.
It's crazy shit, man. My brain never shuts off, but I like it. Like, it's just
Right.
I don't know. I love inventing stuff. It's so fun. But the problem about inventing, if there is one, is it takes a long time to
Yeah.
get it on market, and the patents.
Well, and the more complex it is, the longer.
Oh,
it takes.
yes, absolutely, yeah. It's not a fast process, and I'm kind of like a, I like shit done now, so
Right. Me
that's
too.
been a tough deal, man. But like with the Jumper King coming out, all the delays we had and stuff, like it just makes it that much more special that it's finally out and it's selling in like, it's on the way to supply houses. People in Australia and the Netherlands, South Africa, Canada. People are all reaching out to me wanting this tool, and it's just blowing my freaking mind. And so that's well worth the wait, like
Right.
it's well worth the wait. So anyone out there that has the products and it's maybe Subco's working on it and it's taking a while or whatever, just, keep your day job and keep doing what you're
Stay
doing.
the course.
And just stay the course. And it might be the best thing that's ever happened to you. So it just.
I mean, we're not known for patience over here in the HVAC industry,
No.
right?
No.
Like, how long is a 5-minute delay?
Oh
I
my
ask
God.
every day in my class, and everybody's like, about 30 minutes.
That's unbelievable, man. Those 5-minute delays, that's hilarious as shit.
It's it's like, I've had guys who are like, yeah, it's about 3 cigarettes, or what?
Yeah, I used to, my buddy used to tell me, he used to judge time by cigarettes. Yeah. That job's going to be about 16 cigarettes, Oh, man.
So so I had a training class this morning. Speaking of that, I had a training class this morning, and the product that I'm training on is full inverter. So
Yeah.
I always say, we can't charge this beer can cold, right? And you always got some of the young guys in there not sure what the hell I'm even talking about.
Yeah.
And then the older guys are laughing, right? So this guy comes up to me after class, and he's got this Coors Light can, but it's
Nice.
all cut out, right? So he's just got the outer part, if that makes sense. There's no top, no bottom, right? He cut it out.
Mhm.
He puts it on. So I've got a running system that I always haul around on a trailer.
Yeah.
He puts it on the suction line because I got the AC running, and he puts a rubber band around it, and the mountains turn blue.
Oh, no way.
Man.
Yes.
And I lost it. I completely lost it. I'm like, holy shit, I have got to make a Instagram reel. Like, how have I not seen this? He's like, see, that unit's charged. It's good. It's beer can cold. The mountains are blue. And I'm like, this guy is killing. He's probably 70 years
Please
old.
tell me you gave him a sticker.
Oh, I did give him stickers and all kinds of
That's
shit. Everything I
badass,
had.
man. I like that a lot.
Right? How have I not seen that?
Yeah, because I come from that era, I mean,
Right.
I remember, that shit's freaking about as cold as a beer. Okay.
They literally turned blue.
That's unbelievable. That's hilarious.
Whatever they're using, the little temperature on the paint there. But
yeah.
he comes up to me, he has it, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. He's like, no, yeah, let's go over here. I'll show you. Puts it on the suction line, throws a rubber band, a little thing around it. And there they go. They start turning blue, and I had to just walk off. I was like,
That's
he
freaking,
just dropped the mic, and there it is.
that's so badass.
I'm gonna have to make a reel with that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Coming out soon.
That's a good one right there.
Oh, man.
Well, I remember back in the day too, like me now, my tool bag's pretty light. I carry, if I can't get it done with my tool bag, then
It's a full on repair.
It's a full on, because I remember back in the day when I was training, first getting into it, and I had all the tools, man. I had, gauges, and I loved having all these tools on me and going up to the rooftop or the furnace or whatever it was, and man, I'm important. I have all this shit on me. and the journeyman guy that was training me, he'd have like a screwdriver and a pair of pliers, and he'd fix fucking everything. I'm like,
Right.
What the hell? Like,
couple wire nuts in his pocket.
yeah, like he would like 3 tools. And he'd fix every call that day that I rode with him on. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I thought he was an idiot, but then now that I have, I mean, that was early on, but now that I have a lot more experience, like, you really don't need all these tools, but you do. But
Well, if you can use them properly,
Yeah.
you know, once I started, you know, and obviously not jumping or not knocking the jumper wires here, but as a tech support guy, like I wanted to use my meter.
Yeah.
It's for troubleshooting, right? I mean, I worked with a lot of guys that was, you know, jumping this out, and they're like, oh, okay, so that ran, so it's got to be that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You're turning the unit on to service it. When you start jumping stuff out to find bad parts,
Yeah.
if just use your meter and you start learning how to use your meter, right? So I had a meter, I had a drill, a 10-in-1. You know, I got like you, I got down to like the little small Vito bag,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to lug all that shit around anymore.
Oh, no,
Like,
man, my back's. I just turned 50, man. I'm freaking starting to get work.
you go into a crawl, right? I mean, for one, you can't carry it into a crawl space,
Yeah.
so you got to find something you can drag through there.
Yeah.
But-
Your meter is your best friend. I mean, I would say a huge percentage of HVAC problems are electrical. You know? I mean,
Oh,
very
yeah,
rare
for sure.
it's refrigeration stuff, or well, it's always a TXV, but every time.
Well, it's electrical or it's airflow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my manometer is my other like big boy
Yeah,
tool.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
more so nowadays. That's a big one now.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
With
it's
the
meters are great. They tell you a lot, and you know, I mean, you got to know how to use a meter. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy how things have evolved. You know, the young guy. I don't know. I think the trades died down for a while. You know, but I think they're coming back. I think people are really realizing, because I would say 20 years ago, college was, you know, it was a good deal. I mean, you got a degree,
Yeah.
an MBA or whatever they want to call it, and you get a good.
well,
good
it could
career.
still be a good
Well, it
deal.
could.
It's just not for everyone.
No, it's not.
But nowadays, like, I know more people that have degrees that don't have a damn job than not. And you know, and I'm not knocking. It depends what you do. If you're going to be a doctor, surgeon, this and that, and you got to do it, or else you're not going to get a job just saying, "Hey, I'm good at this," you know. But if you're going to be in the blue collar trades, you know, college, you really don't need it. Now, I did take night college for 2 years, 3 days a week after work, to learn theory. Back in the day, my company paid for it. They put me through it and all that stuff. But you don't even need that. I mean, I could have definitely done it without that. But that gave me a raise at the company that was paying for it. And
Right.
it taught me the theory early on. I think I only had 2 or so years in the trade at that point. And the company put me through that. But you know what? You basically just need to get out there and have an open mind and learn as much as you can, because in the HVAC industry, knowledge is money. You know,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what you're doing.
Well, so I look
well
at
rounded.
I look at doctors and surgeons and all that. You know, we bring that up on this show a lot, but that is a trade too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I tell my son, like, I don't want you, I'm not, you know, he knows what I do, and I'm not telling you need to work with your hands. What I'm telling you is research something before you go spend a shit ton of money on school.
yeah,
If it's not going to pay itself back,
Nope.
I'm kind of out on that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because what are we going to school for anyway?
My history
Um,
degree is killing it.
I know. I always say that. I just poor Ryden. He's got.
Well, when I was in school,
No,
like,
I mean, it sucks because you want to learn that, right? And you want to progress and learn that more. The problem is, you know, I meet a lot of guys that history majors or this and that, and they end up either selling insurance or selling,
Yeah.
and that ain't what their
You're really
intentions
picking
were.
on me now.
I know. Sorry. Yeah, but I know I know. I mean, I know a ton of people that
Oh, I
did
know.
that.
yeah,
They went to school to be a teacher.
yeah,
Ran up 80 grand in debt, and they make 40 grand a year. It's like, that's not good math.
That doesn't compute.
No.
no.
Um,
It's
yeah. So
you know,
pick something and
it's you get out of it what you put into it. which is cool. Like I've
Right.
I even tell a lot of guys. I've reached out to a lot of guys on Instagram saying, "Hey, I don't mind helping you out with some advice, getting your own business going. You know, how to take it to the next level." And a lot of them are like, "Yeah, cool, man, cool." And then I never hear from them again. And I don't know if they think I'm trying to sell them an insurance policy or, you know, or what, or you know, I'm going to charge them. Honestly, I've made it to where I wanted to make it in the HVAC industry. So I'd like to give back to the community. And
Right.
if someone reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I started my own business. What do you recommend?" Or, "Hey, I got some questions," or, you know, I've been through a lot of shit in the last 32 years and the last 23 years on my own that I don't want to just keep it to myself. Like, you know, I'd like to share my experiences with these guys that are just, you know, getting in the field for a couple years or whatever it is, or thinking about starting their own business, or, you know, what if they're just, you know, making crap money and they don't know how to get out of there? It's like, dude, you know, you got to learn. The more you learn, like, you know, I learned install and service, so that made me a really good service tech, because a lot of service calls have to do with bad installs or airflow problems or something like that. So once I got that under my belt, you know, good at install, good at service, duct sizing, you know, troubleshooting, I was worth something, and I started, you know, making good money at these companies at that point. And, you know, so I don't know. I just want to give back to the community. In fact, I got a surprise that I haven't told anyone about that I'm going to be working on, and I'm going to be launching this new thing. I won't give any hints out either because I don't want anyone to guess. I want it to be a total surprise. But in about 3 months, probably a month or two after AHR, I'm going to launch this concept, and it's all about giving back to the HVAC community, because I've made a great living in the HVAC industry, and I want to give back to it, and I want to promote the young guys to get out there and let them know they can make millions of dollars in the HVAC industry. Depends what level you want to take it to. I mean, the HVAC god, you guys all know him, of course.
Oh yeah.
That guy's,
Keith.
I mean, incredible guy. He has beautiful work trucks, a beautiful family. He makes, looks like he's doing really well. I mean, so he took it to a whole different level. And then there's the HVAC boss guy. You guys know him, right? He's newer on Instagram, but he's out there working in the field every day. And he's got like 40 guys. I don't know how many trucks. They have breakfast every Friday. He takes good care of his employees, it looks like to me. He's out there killing it. I know he's killing it, doing really well. So you can take it to whatever level you want. Even if you're within a company and you're working for a company, you can work yourself up to maybe a partner, maybe a manager, maybe a service manager, maybe an install manager, and make, 100, 200 grand a year, whatever it is, with bonuses and incentives and things like that. So it's like, throughout my career, I've seen a lot of guys just staying at one level, and then they're just like wondering, why is the world passing me by? I'm like,
well, you got to have those guys. Somebody's got to do what they're doing.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, at the end of the day, right? I know we got to move on with our generations, but I know guys that are, 50, 60 years old installing.
Yeah.
They didn't want no part of service.
Right.
Like, no thanks. And
they're happy.
Me and my wife talk about it all the time too, right? Like, and she's this person. There's something to be said about a mindless job too, right? Where you make a good living, but when she hits that clock and she's off, she is off. Her brain stops.
That's how my wife is.
What she's doing. You know what I mean? And she's that person, and she enjoys that. Like, she sees me down here recording at 11 o'clock at night. We're doing it because I'm like you. I'm trying to get back.
Yep.
I'm always working on something or tinkering with this or that with HVAC, and it never stops. But because you got to have that too.
Yeah. Well, you probably enjoy this. Like, it's just not even like a job. You know, I bet
No,
kick
yeah.
back in your.
No, this podcast pays like shit. I'm just gonna tell you
Yeah.
that now.
Sorry, sales guy slacking over here.
Yeah.
No,
working on it.
yeah, we don't do this for the money. Obviously, this is
Well, you crack open a beer and you talk about, get to know people. Like, I'm happy to get my story out there, and
Right.
hopefully, make a difference in someone's thinking or inspire them. I try to do a lot of inspiring on my page.
Yeah.
It might be, some people might think it's corny. I don't give a shit really, but
No,
But
it's not.
I-
It's not. Man.
I came from nothing, and I really made a great living, man. I've done some cool shit in my life because of the HVAC industry. So I want people to know that
Right.
you can take this industry to wherever you want. I mean, whatever level you want, and I'm happy to help people out if they reach out to me to give me any kind of advice that I know, because I've just learned the hard way. But I've raised. I mean, we haven't got to my show truck yet, but that show truck I built that I took to SEMA and stuff. I mean, that was no cheap venture, and
I'm sure it was not.
I did that. That was HVAC money. So, it's not just a job, or I make $14 an hour, and blah, I live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
You could take it wherever you want it. You got to get out there and just bust ass. Quit messing around.
Well, that's the key word there.
Word.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put it in.
Yep.
Yep.
If you want it bad enough,
get it
you got to
back
go
out.
out there and make it. Figure out how to make it happen.
100%.
Yeah, we had HVAC God on here. It was a 2-part show.
We talked. To
We
Keith
did like
forever.
2.5 hours, so I broke it up into 2 episodes.
Oh yeah.
But same thing, right? It's just started out at just ground zero,
That guy
And,
is a hustler.
crushing it.
I mean,
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
serial entrepreneur on top of it. I mean,
Yeah.
he was talking to me when they were overseas, back and forth. I mean, he'll reach out and talk
Great
anytime
dude.
you ever want to talk
Oh, yeah.
to him. Super nice guy.
Yep,
Um,
he's a good dude. Really
and I
nice.
think, you talk about going to a new company again. I think one of the things you get to do again, you talk about wanting to give back so much. You get to go in there and you've had all these different experiences with how to build culture in a company, and now you can just go in there and you can pour that into these younger guys, and you can, you're going into a new market, fresh people, and you get to kind of just go in there and start to just build the community up a way it wasn't before.
That's right.
So
Make a difference. Yeah,
Yeah, we
I'm
all
excited.
make a
and
difference in our own
what we
little
want to
area.
do this for too. I mean, we sit around and talk about it all day long, but the biggest thing is if we don't go out and create and foster an environment that people want to be a part of the trade industry, how in the hell can we ever expect them to want to be?
Right.
Um,
Well,
and there's
years ago, like if you were in the trades, it's like, well, okay, so you
yeah, look down on you.
yeah, exactly. Well, now it's like, no, there's people like HVAC God, like me even. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but man, I've done really well in the HVAC.
You've seen that
industry.
badass truck.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, my white one is pretty badass, but the silver one I had was unreal. One of the baddest trucks out there. I mean, and all thanks to the HVAC industry. Unbelievable. I mean,
Sweet.
that truck had an 18-inch air ride on it. It had I bought it brand new and trailered it to a shop in Arizona, and it had 121 miles on it, and they tore the whole thing apart. And I'm like,
Nice.
am I doing the right thing here? Like,
That's some Texas metal stuff right
that
there.
was Texas metal shit right there, yeah. But it took me 2 years to build that, and the SEMA 2020 didn't happen because of the whole COVID crap, and then I kept on building on it, which is cool because I got to do some more stuff to it. I designed the front grille on it, which is cool because I see that on other show trucks now, and they don't even know that I designed that, which is kind of cool. I designed the tail, the exhaust tips. It was a 2-into-1, 2 round pipes into a rectangle pipe, and that was all custom made, and I did that. But The main thing that I built that for is me and my family could go around the country and go to these shows. You know, we went to Daytona Beach, we went to Missouri, went to Texas, and then finished off at SEMA. It was pretty cool. Actually, my wife almost didn't make it to SEMA show because she got diagnosed with, you guys talk about this a lot, breast cancer, blood cancer, and skin cancer all in 1 week, right before SEMA.
Holy
Jeez.
cow!
Yep. And that was talk about a rough freaking deal. And the doctor barely let her go. He said, "Well, you know, your blood count is so high that, you know, if you sit down on that trip for too long, you can get a blood clot and get a stroke or die or whatever." So every 2 hours we'd have to pull off the road, and so my wife could walk around and stuff. So SEMA and the whole experience was a huge deal to us, man. It was a huge deal to us. And since she's doing good, she got, luckily it was the kind of leukemia, blood cancer that is more treatable than not. So she's on some heavy duty meds for that. She was able to get the breast cancer removed and get a mastectomy, only on one side, so that was good. And then she got her skin cancer, you know, all torn off her nose and skin graft, and got all that done. And she's hanging in there, doing okay.
Damn, nice. Well, that's good to hear.
So the whole experience wasn't this, oh, hey, look at my truck, how cool I am. It wasn't even about that. It was about, okay, I worked my ass off all my life. I've been in crawl spaces with insulation up my ass crack. I'm gonna freaking, you know, I'm gonna enjoy this. So me and my son decided that, hey, let's build a show truck and see how it goes. And then so it just kept on growing and growing and growing. And I didn't know I was going to get to that point, because I actually early on when I was building the truck, I stumbled across this thing called a build manager, and they actually get all the sponsors together for you, and you pay them a pretty small fee in the whole spectrum of things. And he actually got me to all these shows. He got me 32 sponsors on that truck. And so, you know, I saved a lot of money there, but I had to, you know, definitely commit to these shows after that for the sponsors, and which that was my whole idea anyways. So it kind of worked out, and ended up to be one of the best things I've ever did in my life, you know. And I actually had to sell that truck to lean out, because we're moving now, and we're buying a nice home, you know, a really nice home again, finally. So I had to sell that and kind of move on from that, which was really tough. It still bothers me to this day, because if I had millions in the bank, I could have kept it, but it was more of a burden at this point to drag it along with me, and there's nowhere to park it. I mean, the thing was 9.5 feet tall, so it's like, where are you going to park that thing, you know? I actually had its own 14 by 30 storage unit that I kept it in those 2 years. That cost me $400 a month. Yeah, so
Jeez.
that we had all our fun in it, and you know, and it was time to move on. So now we're kind of lean. You know, I've been working on getting my credit all dialed in, and no debt and all that stuff for the last few years. And now we're moving, and we're gonna be super leaned out and ready to roll. So.
Well, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I know you got to get up early.
Oh yeah. I don't even. We've been talking for a long time.
What are you, 2 hours behind?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
2 hours.
But I know you guys are in worse shape than me. It's what, freaking almost midnight over there, isn't it?
We're used to it. Hey, this is what we do, man.
Well, I hope I talked about enough cool things. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
A lot of cool things.
Cool.
Yeah, when you get settled in, man, we'll have you back on. We'll see how it went.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Find out about the new company and see what's happening.
Yeah, that'd be.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to talk about when you get settled in for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's service manager or something like that, I'd like to have you back on and
Sure.
see. We'll see what your attitude's like. When we have you back on.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah.
No, I wish you luck for sure. I think you'll be fine with that.
Thank you.
They'd be lucky to have that experience for sure. A lot of these companies are just spinning wheels. You know,
Yep.
Totally.
even if they got money and they got guys, they still can't get it going.
Right.
Uh,
Right. And
that's easy to do in this business too.
that's like, if they let me kind of, like, here's my service department. I'm going to give you resources, but you got to run everything through me and get okayed everything through me. Obviously, it's their money, right? But if they
Right.
can like give me the reins and say, hey, let's work together here, but I want you to kind of, take this as your little baby and grow it. That's kind of what I would want, because that would make me
Right.
almost feel like if I have my own company in a way, and it would be challenging for me to bring them from whatever service techs, maybe 3-star reviews to 5 stars and top-notch service techs, and really a really good atmosphere, good team, and I'd have fun creating that. So that's hopefully the company I work for is going to let me kind of do that. Because if they're the type that goes, well, it's 7:01, you were supposed to be here at 7 a.m. I'm going to write you up. I'm like, okay, I just sold like 20 grand worth of equipment yesterday, and you're giving me shit over a freaking minute? Okay, that ain't going to work, man. So I don't know if my entrepreneurship's going to get in the way. We'll have to see. Like, that's on the next episode, right?
That's what I mean. We're definitely having
that
part 2 to
feeling.
this.
Oh, yeah, it's like, yeah, I kicked the guy's ass and I took his company. He's in the back. He's in my backyard. No one even knows. And now I have his company. I'm kicking ass. No, I don't know. Yeah, who knows, man? But yeah, we'll see what happens on the next episode, right? So
That's right. All right. Well, cool. Well, hey, awesome on the Jumper King there. That thing's killer.
thank you so much.
From an inventor to an inventor that I haven't ever put anything out, but I'm that guy.
I like it. Well, if anyone out there has anything that invention wise, licensing, patents, trademarks, let me know. I can most likely help out, including you. I've been through a lot in the invention industry, and I've learned a lot, and I'm always happy to give back to whoever wants to know about it.
Nice. Well, yeah. We'll put that out on some social media and get some stuff coming your way for sure.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time, Robert.
Well, I appreciate your guys' time. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for staying up late, and thanks for doing what you're doing. I really appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Hit us up.
You got it, guys. Well, have a good night. We'll see you soon.
Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Whoop.